Pakistan-India relations, as you all know, is a tough cookie. It's never easy to find uh, a way out in the sense that we have seen many ups and downs in our relations. And the current phase is obviously of not my liking. As Pakistan High Commissioner in New Delhi, I would always aspire for better better times in this relationship and better prospects. But unfortunately, what we have seen during the last 2.5 years is not to my liking. Though at the diplomatic level we have made many initiatives, but unfortunately things always tend to come back to square one, and we are always required to start afresh. But in this relationship, what we have seen is that we always make one step forward, two steps back, and then start thinking as to how to break the ice. And this is the current phase. We do not know how to move forward. There was, there still is, I would say, some people thought that the Heart of Asia Conference in Afghanistan in Amritsar perhaps may be the time when the two countries move towards a thaw. And Pakistan, we have expressed our readiness to consider any proposal from the Indian side. But as of this moment, there is no proposal from the Indian side, whether or not they would like to have a bilateral engagement on the margins of the conference. But we fully understand in the sense that the Heart of Asia conference is about Afghanistan, so focus should stay on Afghanistan. And whether or not we have any bilateral engagement, our advisor is coming because Afghanistan is important for us. And we consider it as a country where peace and stability is a kind of sine qua non for our own stability and our own economic progress. So our advisor is coming, and we would like to participate in the conference constructively, positively, and that continues to be our primary objective. Whether or not any bilateral meeting takes place, I do not know, but as of today, there is no indication from the Indian side. So now the challenge, I think, for the two sides is how to move forward. Whether we are content with the present status quo, present stalemate, and we would like things to continue like this. I can tell you that in Islamabad, obviously, we do have a strong desire to move forward, because we sincerely believe that we have serious issues which can only be resolved, or we can at least try to settle them through talks. There is no other way. But as things stand, we have the patience to wait, and we will wait. And let's see how things unfold from here. If there is no, if we are not able to break the ice in Amritsar, perhaps we will find another opportunity somewhere later. But we are kind of, we have always been positive in terms of our engagement with India. So this is what I can say at this stage, and if there are any questions.
So can I just ask about that, because the criticism, and there's been a particular criticism of you, which I'm sure you're aware of, is that as High Commissioner, you've spoken much more to the government through the media than otherwise. Even when you say that there is no proposal from India for a bilateral, we heard from the MEA yesterday saying we have received no proposal from Pakistan either. How do you answer this criticism that Pakistan's High Commissioner to India is actually using the media to speak, but in fact there is no real conversation backing that up?
No, I think what we have done is to, as happens on these multilateral forum meetings, we have conveyed that our advisor would be participating in the conference. And you would recall that our advisor also made a statement about a week ago that we are open to ideas and suggestions. So now, as hosts, our program is very clear. We do not know as to what other engagements the host has. So they can always come up. So because we have already expressed our desire, but we do not know if India is willing. And that's why, we are kind of in a situation where we would very much like the ice to break, but at the same time, we would not like to take any step or do anything which is not responded to. But I mean, as I said earlier, this conference is about Afghanistan, so it's okay.
What do you see happening at Heart of Asia? I mean, we've already heard both from the Afghanistan ambassador and the MEA that the proposal, and they've already circulated a draft on counter-terrorism, which you've probably seen, that they hope to push through. The Afghan ambassador said we both face the same kind of cross-border terror. That means Pakistan. Are you worried that you might get cornered at this point?
No, why should we be worried? Because terrorism is also an important issue for us. And that draft is being negotiated, and many brackets have already been removed from the draft declaration. And I'm sure that our senior officials who will be coming to attend the senior officials meeting on the 3rd of this month, the rest of the draft would also be cleared. So we are not worried. We have our own positions on different issues. But at the end of the day, as the outgoing co-chair of the process, I think there was also Islamabad declaration, and now we will have an Amritsar declaration. So I don't see that why Pakistan should have any problem. We have our positions on different issues. India has its own position, but at the end of the day, I think you can always find an agreed language on different issues.
High Commissioner, we've seen a lot of exchange of fire on the LOC and the international border. 13 years since the ceasefire came into existence. Do you now believe that the ceasefire is dead and all that it needs is a formal burial and we are back to the pre-2003 situation?
No, I would not like to think along these lines, because ceasefire and understanding I think, is an important CBM, and important is to preserve this rather than to destroy this particular CBM. We would rather like it to be to make it a formal agreement. So this continues to be our position, and it is precisely for that reason our DGMO took the initiative and got in touch with his Indian counterpart. So I think there is no desire in Pakistan to keep the LOC or the working boundary hot. We would very much like peace and tranquility to be observed along the LOC and the working boundary. So I, for one, would not like to see this particular CBM undermined in any manner. And I would not like to draw premature conclusions at this stage. We have been here before as well, but let's focus on how we can preserve and then consolidate this particular piece.
So what do you think should be the mechanism to do that? Should it be the DGMOs? You have a new army chief in Pakistan. Is there time for a meeting of the two the Indian and Pakistani army chiefs to sort this out? I mean, how do you think we should do it?
No, I think first step is to commence. We need to engage with each other. We need to give diplomacy a chance. And unless we do that, I do not know how we can achieve all these objectives. First and foremost is to engage with each other at a diplomatic level and then create a space for these such initiatives.
What are the reasons, according to you, for this flare of violence around the border and within, in fact, even in POK, you're seeing civilian casualties?
It's very difficult to say, but as far as Pakistan is concerned, we do not have any interest in breaching or violation of the ceasefire understanding of 2003. And it doesn't serve our purpose, our interests. Hence, we have come up with different ideas. First of all, if perhaps UN military observer group can be made more relevant to the entire to this particular what is happening on the LOC. That would be one way of addressing this particular issue. Then secondly, as I discussed earlier, consolidating this particular CBM and translating it into an agreement. That would be another way.
My question is, what are the reasons that you think brought us here?
You mean LOC?
LOC and the violence, and the related collateral damages.
No, I would not like to dwell on that. But in Pakistan, there is a feeling that since July 8th, what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir, things have become difficult. And India is perhaps whatever we have agreed in Islamabad last year to have a comprehensive dialogue process. And that, as you know, also includes Jammu and Kashmir. But the feeling in Islamabad is that there is no desire for comprehensive engagement here in New Delhi. I do not know, but this is what the feeling is, whether it is right or wrong, but this is what the feeling in Islamabad is. No, whatever the reason, important is that we would like to move forward, or we would like to persist with the current stalemate in our relationship. If you would like to move beyond the current gridlock, then it is important to create, mutually acceptable ways as to how we can move forward. The problem with LOC firing is that you blame us. Every time this happens, it is unprovoked firing from your side. And recently, as you know, even a passenger bus was hit. Also an ambulance on our side of the LOC. And civilians have been killed. So important is to get out of this situation. And this is what we have been trying.
We've heard all these so many times that after a while you just want to say, how do you move beyond this?
Yeah, exactly, sir. I mean, because now even what is
first this firing should come to an end immediately. Now, obviously, that is important. That would be the first step. And then we need to engage with each other. I mean, if we were to, agree on certain things, bilateral engagement would be unavoidable. You cannot agree on anything unless you talk to each other, you engage with each other. So whether or not New Delhi is ready for any engagement, I do not know. That's why I can't tell you anything.
But what's your assessment? You're the
I do not know. I would not
Yeah.
like to guess on this.
Because we did have the engagement, we had visit of your Prime Minister to Mr. Modi's swearing in. Then we had the drop in on Christmas Day. So from then we've had a bit of a slide. So there have been suggestions from the Indian side that there was a lot of personal contact between the Prime Minister and the External Affairs Minister and so on. So how do you think we've come to such a pass so quickly?
No, I think this is the nature of our relationship somehow. This has been happening like this. So we all thought that our Prime Ministers coming to New Delhi to attend Prime Minister Modi's oath-taking ceremony was a great gesture on the part of India, Pakistan. And we were all looking forward to a good process as a result of that. But then you all know, and it will be a repetition, how things unfolded, and then our interaction with the Hurriyat, and then the Foreign Secretary Jaishankar's visit to Pakistan as part of the Sark Yatra, and then meeting at Ufa, and then Prime Minister Modi's short visit to Lahore, and then finally the Pathankot happens. And even post Pathankot, I think our two countries were reacted, I think, maturely. There was some cooperation between our two countries to get to the bottom of that. But then July 8 comes, and then we are back to square one. Hence, it is, in my view, it is important to not to brush aside the issues which continue to kind of bedevil our relationship, or which are obstructing the two countries to have a trust level which is important in order for us to move forward. So I think at some level, Jammu and Kashmir becomes the issue between our two countries. And as we look at it, its resolution, its fair settlement is absolutely important for our two countries to overcome the trust deficit and build solid foundations for bilateral cooperation. That, unfortunately, is not happening. So I hope and wish that the Indian side is indeed willing to engage. And we are not saying that we should be taking up Jammu and Kashmir first. We have already agreed on a comprehensive bilateral dialogue framework. And the basic framework is there. Now we need to engage with each other to finalize modalities of that process. And if we are able to do that, I think this is time to move on. But if we are ensconced in our respective positions, then this will continue like this, unfortunately.
Mr. Basit, you say that obviously Kashmir is an important issue for Pakistan. India says it's the issue of terrorism. The point being made often is that the groups, the terror groups and their offshoots that operate in Pakistan also have linkages across the LOC and the international border into Kashmir. And this segmented approach to terror, which is often talked about. So how, say, groups like, say, Jaish-e-Mohammed or Lashkar-e-Taiba, which have their own offshoots in Pakistan, which operate sometimes domestically under different, in a different avatar, if I might use that word. How is it that you can, talk about taking action domestically against these offshoots, but not so much against groups like the Jaish-e-Mohammed or the Lashkar-e-Taiba?
No, I think first of all, you need to understand that as the victim of terrorism ourselves, there is zero tolerance for violence and terrorism in Pakistan. Secondly, the organizations you mentioned, both are proscribed organizations. And we have in the past taken action against these organizations as well. And presently, as you know, Zarb-e-Azb operation is underway. And it is gradually and successfully moving to its logical conclusion. I can tell you that there is no, we would not tolerate any individual to indulge in any violent activity, either in Pakistan or outside. And if there is proof, evidence, that can be shared with us. But the problem is that we cannot be driven by speculation and hearsay. If post Mumbai, some evidence was shared with us, and since on the basis of that evidence, we did arrest a few individuals, and some of them are under trial at the moment. So to say that Pakistan is simply ignoring that would be, I think, unfair. We have taken steps. We have put these people in jail, and we are trying them as well. So that reflects our resolve to move against any organization or individual against whom we have some sort of evidence to move and put them on trial. But we must not use, because terrorism is a big issue for us. As I can tell you, we would also like to discuss terrorism with India. It is not that we do not have issues. We also have issues to discuss with India, especially what is happening in Balochistan, in Karachi, in the Fatah region. So we have issues too. But our approach is, I think, is a more balanced approach, in the sense that we would like to move forward in a comprehensive manner and discuss all issues as has been agreed between our two countries in December last year. So we are not cherry picking, we are not selective in our approach. So I think it is for New Delhi to see as to how we can resume the dialogue process.
So now that we have this international campaign on Kashmir.
Which international campaign?
Well, your campaign,
Okay.
your government's campaign. Now, is it possible for you to give a pause to the campaign to let the dialogue begin, maybe for a few months? Or do you want to go on with this campaign while also asking for dialogue with India? Is it possible?
When you say campaign,
well, that is a campaign, isn't it?
No, but we have always been saying that Pakistan would continue to extend diplomatic and moral support to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, and that continues to be our policy. To expect Pakistan to look the other way, I think would not be, is not what we can really give you.
It's not going anywhere. I mean, there has been no movement internationally on what Pakistan is doing.
That doesn't make any difference to us.
Doesn't.
Because so long as we know that ours is the principled position, and the struggle is people are still, struggling for their right to self-determination. But again, this is not correct to say that it is not moving anywhere. OIC has issued statements in support of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. There have been statements by the UN, and then UN Human Rights Commissioner. They agreed to send a fact-finding mission to Jammu and Kashmir to find as to what is happening there. So there has been, international support to Pakistan's position on this. So at the end of the day, I think our two countries need to sit across the table and find a just and fair solution to this long-standing problem.
What about the opposite that's happened? I mean, the idea that 3 of Pakistan's neighbors in the SAARC region boycotted the very prestigious summit Pakistan was planning in Islamabad. Others also pulled out. There's a sense that in the region, on the issue of terrorism, that Pakistan has been isolated.
That is a temporary thing, Suhasini, in my view. And if SAARC has not been able to hold its 19th summit as scheduled, I think is our collective loss. As I said earlier, we also have serious issues on terrorism with India, and the entire leadership of the TTP, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, is in Afghanistan. So to say that Pakistan is not suffering, Pakistan, we also have our issues with them. But having said that, we strongly feel that terrorism is a challenge for all of us. And it is only through cooperative approaches can we make a difference, rather than targeting any individual country in the region. That is neither here nor there. That is not going to help us in the longer term. Important is to really seek cooperation, both bilaterally as well as regionally, at all levels, because terrorism is a phenomenon, which is local, regional, global at the same time. So we need to be innovative in our approaches and see how we can address these challenges. And we have seen that, such self-serving approaches do not take us anywhere.
But the Jaish-e-Mohammed chief, Masood Azhar, I mean, we've all watched it live on TV as Masood Azhar was released in exchange, for hostages. Should that not be enough? I'm saying from the outside world's perspective, Pakistan is making all these statements that, that we are victims of terror and all the rest. But when you see someone like Masood Azhar, whom we've all watched in the IC-814 hijack, how do you explain that you don't feel the need to arrest him, hand him back to India, make that big gesture towards India?
No, I think this cannot be done just on the basis of speculation or on the basis of unfounded stories. We are ready to play our role, provided this is done with solid, irrefutable evidence against him. So this is what our approach is. Even after Pathankot, if Pakistan moves so quickly on the basis of whatever information we got at the official channel, through the official channel, we moved immediately and filed an FIR against on the Pathankot incident. So that is testimony to our seriousness of purpose. And all these things, need, as I said earlier, a cooperative approach. If the level of the trust deficit is so huge, then obviously and we are not engaging with each other, then obviously you are constricting the space for cooperation.
So, do you get this sense of this government? Is it very different from dealing with any other government, especially when you deal with the Ministry of External Affairs?
In what sense?
The sense of, let's say, autonomy, power, or what engagement style. Or do you think the power rests somewhere else?
I would not. That is, it is not for me to comment as to how you. For me, important is that how we, under the given obtaining circumstances, how we break the impasse and try to create a space for diplomacy. That, I think, for me is more important than to draw comparisons as to how the previous government worked or how this government is. This is not for me. I would like to be forward-looking rather than to be stuck in a time warp.
So what can you really give up?
Sorry?
You are not giving up on Kashmir. You are not giving up on the position on terror. So to start a dialogue, what can you really see?
No, nor are
Maybe
we,
for temporary.
nor are we asking India to give up anything, Kalu. I think it's not a matter of giving up anything, and then I think it's a slightly skewed approach to think that we are doing a favor by having a dialogue process. Nobody is doing any favor to anyone. Dialogue, I think, if peace is in our mutual interest, and if peace can only be achieved through dialogue, then it is in our mutual interest to have dialogue with each other. So Pakistan is not begging for dialogue. Let's be very clear about this. If India is not ready, so we can always wait. But we strongly feel that the road to peace is through dialogue.
Just come back to this heart of Asia and what you were saying, the cooperative approach. There have been two major issues that both India has spoken about bilaterally, but also in the SAARC context. One is MFN and the fact that that is holding up SAFTA as well. And Pakistan did come close to giving India the MFN, and they called it
the story.
And the NDMA and all the rest of that. The second really has been this Afghanistan-Pakistan transit trade agreement. The Foreign Secretary had said a few months ago that again India had sent a request asking for essentials to be sent to Afghanistan. Why is Pakistan holding up even those requests? I remember I asked you at the time about the request and you said you just received it. Why that request?
But that, let me answer this question. First of all, if it's a humanitarian assistance as was claimed, and if Pakistan was not allowing for any reason, let's not talk about that. India could always send those goods, through Karachi. That route is open to India. But to make it a political issue is incomprehensible for us. Secondly, access to Afghanistan's exports to India from Afghanistan, we have extended that facility to Afghanistan through Wagah. And Afghan products are coming or being exported to India through Wagah. Now that facility has not been given to India. And I, for one, would hope that at some stage our two countries do have a level of a relationship which allows us to extend that facility to India as well. But we are not there yet.
How concerned are you about the Indus Water Treaty being brought up again and again? In different contexts.
Look, Indus Water Treaty is a permanent treaty. It can neither be changed nor terminated unilaterally. And we expect India as a responsible member of the international community to abide by its provisions, which is a very balanced arrangement. So we do have some problems, and then there are dispute settlement mechanisms available in the treaty itself. So, while if we adhere to the provisions of the treaty, then there is no problem. There is no issue for us. And so far, we have been able to resolve our problems by invoking the dispute settlement mechanism as contained in the treaty itself.
Commissioner, one question on the border firings. Each side has been claiming deaths and loss of lives and have taken out so many soldiers on the other side. One issue is believing the claims, because on the Indian side at least, in 2 days say there's a body bag coming home, there's some media there, it trickles out. But on the other side, it's all unfortunately because you keep putting out saying so many people have been, Indian soldiers have been killed or so many civilians have been died. One constant, in fact, we tried to talk to experts, keep saying, how can you verify that? That is somewhere, there's a bit of a gap there.
I'm not a military man, I would not know. I can't really respond to this question as to how we can verify. But I think United Nations military observer group is one way, one possibility if India agrees to that. First of all, more important is to that there is no cross-LOC firing taking place. Let's focus on that rather than on such details.
So, High Commissioner, we are at an impasse really, and we've been there before, as you said. So, what do you think are the 2-3 things that we, in your view, that we can do to break this impasse?
Interesting question. I would not like to discuss all those possibilities in public. But I think first is to have willingness and desire. And unless that is there, then no matter what you do, you would not be able to break the impasse. As far as Pakistan is concerned, we are very clear as to what we would like to do and what our positions are. We understand as how important it is to engage with each other and give diplomacy a chance. So we will continue working towards that to break the impasse. Whether or not we succeed, I do not know. But we are very clear in Islamabad as to that dialogue is the only way our two countries can really. Otherwise, and I'm sure we would not like to live in a state of perpetual hostility. I don't think that is what we are looking for. If we are working, if we want to have a normal relationship, then talking to each other is, I think, inevitable. Whether it happens 1 year down the road or 3 years down the road, we do not know. But sooner or later, I think we will have to come to the negotiating table. Now, how does it work out? Let's leave it to official level.
There's been this confusion, rather, various narratives on what is going on between Pakistan and Russia. Was there a visit from the chief of Russian intelligence to Islamabad recently? The Russians are denying.
This is a question beyond my mandate.
But still, it's quite a success on your part, perhaps, to get them on your side.
We would not like. It's not a zero-sum game. I find it amusing as to how foreign relations are looked at. That if Russia engages with Pakistan somehow, it's a loss for India. Things do not work like this. I think we are living in a very interesting world which is transforming in many, many ways. And our focus is to create positive sum games rather than zero-sum games. Russia is a sovereign country, Pakistan is a sovereign country, India is a sovereign country. Russia, India can have excellent relations, while Russia and Pakistan can also have excellent relations. Why not? Like, China and India, you have a very good relation with. China is one of your biggest trading partners. So it doesn't mean that if Pakistan and China are strategic partners, you cannot have a good relationship with China. I think all these good relations work to our collective advantage at the end of the day. We all gain by these positivities. Rather than explaining them in pure zero-sum game, I do not subscribe to this view at all.
So,
After all, in the 70s, we got Pakistan steel mill from Russia and in Karachi. And then, the Tashkent agreement between our two countries post 1965 war. So Russia has been an important player in this region.
Ambassador, how concerned are you when Pakistani actors are denied work here, or when musicians are not allowed to perform in either of the two
And
countries?
Pakistan also bans
Indian television news channels.
Yeah, that was in reaction to what we have seen what happened to this, Fawad Khan's film. I'm forgetting the name of that movie. Hai Dil Hai Mushkil. And then subsequently Zindagi
You
channel.
watched it?
No, I haven't yet. I think my wife has, but
Did she like it?
she was full of praise of Fawad Khan. And I did not like it, by the way. So I think again, I have been saying all along that it is very difficult to build, easy to destroy. So whatever CBMs, whatever good things are there between our two countries, we need to build on them, consolidate them, rather than taking a step, or which we do not serve any good purpose in my view. I would rather encourage such people contest to continue. Hence, we immediately issued visa to Yatris, Sikh Yatris, to Hindu Yatris. We did not even think twice, as to, we thought that these are good CBMs and let people go interact. And that continues to be our approach. But obviously there is public opinion in Pakistan too, which after so many rhetoric here, following what happened in Uri and then Pakistan bashing. So it was in reaction to that Bollywood movies are not shown in Pakistani theatres. But I hope that this is a temporary thing. We will get out of this present phase. The sooner the better, in my view.
I did want to ask you about the call between Prime Minister Shirin and President Trump. As a diplomat, were you surprised by the language?
No comment. I think we are looking forward to having a good relationship, good excellent, good working, and I think a relationship with the incoming administration. And with US, our relationship with US is very, very important for a variety of reasons. US continues to be a global power, and so there is no reason to think otherwise. US is our largest trading partner, and one of major investors in Pakistan, and also US role in Afghanistan. All these things are very important for our two countries to be on the same page on several issues. So hence this call by our Prime Minister to felicitate President-elect Trump, I think, was timely, and this also augurs well when he takes over on the 20th of January. I think we would like to see a great beginning between our two countries.